The story begins in the deep silence of space, far from the sun that once warmed Earth. The human ship Endurance drifted slowly through the edge of a large nebula. Its long journey had lasted many years. The hull was worn from dust, radiation, and small collisions with tiny rocks in the void. Lights glowed softly along its sides, like candles in a dark room. Inside, the air smelled of metal, recycled water, and the faint green scent of the hydroponics garden. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge. He was a tall man in his late 40s. His short gray hair was neat, and his blue eyes stayed calm, even when things went wrong. He wore a simple gray uniform with the name Hayes stitched on the chest. Right now he watched the big forward screen. It showed swirling clouds of purple, blue, and red gas. Lightning flickered inside the nebula, like distant fireworks. "Any change in the readings?" Daniel asked. Lieutenant Karen Brooks sat at the tactical console. She was 32 years old, with dark hair pulled back tight and sharp green eyes that missed nothing. Her fingers moved fast over the controls. "Sensors are having trouble, Captain. The nebula clouds block a lot of signals. Engines are steady at 60%. No damage reports." Engineer Stephen Grant spoke from his station at the rear of the bridge. He was a strong man with wide shoulders and a kind smile. Grease marked his hands from hours of work below decks. "The wart shunt is still temperamental. We can make short jumps, but anything longer might shake us apart. I need time to fix the coolant lines." Ensign Ryan Cole, the youngest on the bridge, laughed quietly at the sensor panel. He was 24, with messy brown hair and bright eyes full of wonder. "Time? Out here? We might as well wish for a beach vacation." Dr. Laura Mitchell stood near the door, with her arms crossed. She was 40, with short blonde hair and warm brown eyes that could turn stern when needed. "Keep joking, but if someone gets hurt because of a bad jump, my medbay is not a miracle factory." Daniel gave a small nod. He liked their spirit. They had been together for a long time. They argued sometimes, but they always worked as one crew. "Keep scanning the area ahead," Daniel said. "We need a habitable world soon. The food recyclers are working hard, but they can't do it forever." The crew returned to their tasks. The ship made a low, steady hum. It felt alive, like a big animal breathing in its sleep. Far away in a different part of space, the Galactic Concord watched everything. The Concord was an old alliance of many alien races. They had huge cities floating in space, fast ships with perfect weapons, and rules written in stone for thousands of years. One big rule said, "Do not touch young species." If a race had not built their own faster-than-light engines, they were called pre-warp. Pre-warp meant watch only. No talking, no help, no fighting. Just wait until they grew up. To the Concord, the Endurance looked like a toy boat in a storm. Its engines burned simple fusion. Its hull had no energy shields. Its weapons were just metal slugs fired fast. Nothing special. On the flagship Crystal Dawn, Admiral Vexlar sat in his command chair. He was Clithari, a tall alien with skin like clear crystal. Light moved inside his body in slow patterns. When he spoke, his voice sounded like ice cracking. A small officer with feathers named Lyra stepped forward. "Admiral, the unknown vessel continues on course. It will enter the restricted nebula zone in 3 standard days." Vexlar tilted his head. Tiny lights sparkled along his crystal arms. "What type?" "Pre-warp scavenger. Single ship. Old design. No threat level." Vexlar made a sharp, ringing sound, his way of laughing. "Then ignore it. The nebula will break it apart. If not, send a patrol to tow the wreck away. We have more important matters." Lyra bowed and stepped back. The bridge crew turned to other tasks. Trade routes, border patrols, politics between ancient races. These were real problems. One small human ship was dust in the wind. Back on the Endurance, life went on. In the mess hall, crew members sat at long tables. The food was plain. Soy protein mixed with fresh greens from the garden. Sarah Klein, the lead biologist, ate next to Mike Torres, a mechanic. I think the new light panels will help the tomatoes grow better, Sarah said. Mike grinned and wiped his mouth. Just don't make them grow too fast. Last experiment gave us giant cucumbers that tasted like plastic. People around them laughed. It was small talk, but it kept spirits up. In the corridor outside the engine room, 2 young crew members carried tools. They talked about home. Old stories of Earth beaches, cities, mountains. No one knew if Earth still existed the same way. The last signals they caught were old and broken. On the bridge again, Ryan suddenly leaned forward. "Captain, wait, I have something." Daniel walked over fast. "What is it?" Ryan pointed at a fuzzy blip on his screen. Multiple contacts, large, moving in formation. Too far for clear readings because of the nebula, but they're real, not rocks or gas. Karen checked her own panel. No transmissions on standard bands. Could be automated drones. Or ships, Daniel said quietly. He felt the first touch of caution in his chest. Don't hail them. Don't send active pings. Just watch. Stephen looked up. If they're watching us, our dry flare is like a torch in the dark. Then, we stay quiet. We keep course. Our job is to find a new home for humanity. We don't start fights we can't finish. The bridge fell quiet, except for the soft beeps of machines. Later, Daniel went to his small cabin alone. He sat on the edge of his bunk and looked at a faded photo stuck to the wall. It showed Earth from space. Blue water, white clouds, green land. He touched the photo with one finger. "We left to survive," he whispered. "We'll keep going until we do." Through the small window, the nebula glowed brighter. Colors twisted and turned. Lightning flashed silent and huge. Somewhere in that beauty hid danger. Eyes from another world already saw the Endurance. They saw a weak, slow ship from a young race. They saw no power, no threat. They were wrong. But they would learn that later. For now, the Endurance pushed forward. Its engines hummed. Its people worked. Hope stayed alive in their hearts, small but strong. The nebula waited ahead, full of secrets and storms. And the first quiet chapter of a much bigger tale had just started. The Endurance moved deeper into the nebula. The colorful gas clouds grew thicker around the ship. They made the stars look soft and far away. Inside, the lights stayed low to save power. The crew felt the change. Everyone spoke quieter now. On the bridge, Captain Daniel Hayes stood with his hands behind his back. He watched the main screen. Swirls of purple and green rolled past like slow rivers. Ryan Cole kept his eyes on the sensor display. His fingers tapped the edge of the panel. "Captain," Ryan said suddenly, "we have a clear contact now. One ship, big, coming straight at us from the front." Daniel turned. "Distance?" "About 200,000 kilometers, closing fast. Speed is high, much faster than us." Karen Brooks pulled up the tactical view. Red lines showed the path of the unknown ship. "No weapons hot yet, but they have energy weapons charged. Looks like a patrol frigate. Not human." Stephen Grant wiped his hands on a rag and stepped closer. "If they want to talk, why no hail?" "Maybe they don't think we can answer," Daniel said. His voice stayed calm. "Open a channel. Standard greeting. Use the language we learned from old signals." Karen nodded. She pressed keys. A soft beep sounded. Then she spoke clearly. "This is the human exploratory vessel Endurance. We come in peace. We ask for safe passage through this area. We have no hostile intent." The bridge went quiet. Seconds passed. Then the screen flickered. A tall, thin alien appeared. Its body looked like smooth blue glass. Light moved inside like slow fireflies. The face had no mouth, just a slit that glowed when it spoke. The voice came through speakers, cold and sharp, like breaking ice. "Pre-warp vessel, You have entered restricted space of the Galactic Concord. Your presence is unauthorized. You will power down all systems. Prepare for boarding and inspection. Resistance is not permitted. Daniel kept his face still. We are explorers. We carry families and supplies for a new colony. We do not wish conflict. We will leave your space if you allow us to continue. The alien tilted its head. Tiny lights danced faster inside its body. Your words mean nothing. Primitive species do not negotiate. You will comply or be disabled. The screen went dark. Karen looked at Daniel. They just cut us off. Ryan checked his panel. They're charging lances. Energy buildup high. Daniel took a deep breath. Shields up. Full power to engines. Evasive pattern delta. Steven, get us ready for a hard burn. Steven ran to the lift. On it, Captain. Alarms sounded. Short, sharp beeps. Red lights flashed. Crew members hurried to stations. In the corridors, people grabbed handholds. The ship shook as engines roared louder. On the alien frigate, the commander watched a hologram of the small human ship. It looked tiny next to their own vessel. Primitives always run, he said to his crew. Fire a warning shot. Clip their drive. A bright lance of white energy shot from the frigate. It crossed the distance in seconds. The Endurance rocked hard. Sparks flew across the bridge. Consoles smoked. Lights dimmed for a moment. Direct hit to main drive, Karen reported. Power at 30%. We're leaking plasma. Daniel gripped the arm of his chair. Damage? Steven's voice came over the comm. Port nacelle offline. Coolant lines ruptured. We can limp, but not fast. Warp shunt is still good, but risky. Ryan stared at his screen. They're launching boarding pods. 3 of them. Closing in 2 minutes. Dr. Laura Mitchell appeared at the bridge door. She carried a med kit. I heard the hit. Casualties? Not yet, Daniel said. But soon. Get your team ready. Laura nodded and left. Their faces showed fear, but also something harder. They think we're weak. They think we'll surrender. We won't. We defend our home, our people. Everyone to battle stations. Arm the point defenses. Load the railguns. If they board, we fight. Karen smiled a little. It was not happy. It was fierce. Aye, Captain. The alien pods flew closer. They looked like silver arrows. Inside each one, Clythari soldiers checked their weapons. Long crystal rifles that shot focused light. They expected easy work. A quick sweep. Take the ship. Tow it away. Maybe study the strange mammals inside. The first pod hit the side of the Endurance with a loud clang. Clamps locked on. A cutting torch started burning through the hull. On the bridge, Ryan watched the feed. They're cutting into Cargo Bay 3. Daniel stood up. Karen, you have the bridge. I'm going down there with the security team. Karen opened her mouth to argue, then closed it. Be careful, sir. Daniel took a sidearm from the locker. It was a simple pistol that fired heavy slugs. He checked the magazine. Full. Then he ran to the lift. In the corridor near Cargo Bay 3, 10 crew members waited. They wore heavy work suits with extra plates. Some held shotguns loaded with metal scraps. Others had welding torches turned into makeshift flamers. Mike Torres stood at the front with a big wrench in one hand and a pistol in the other. Captain, Mike said, we sealed the inner doors. They can't get past the first bulkhead easy. Daniel nodded. Good. We hold here. Make them pay for every step. A loud screech came from the hull. The outer door blew inward with a rush of air. Alarms screamed. Emergency bulkheads slammed down. The aliens stepped through the smoke. 5 tall crystal figures. Their bodies sparkled under the lights. They raised their rifles. The humans did not wait. Mike fired first. Scrap metal tore into the lead alien. Crystal shattered. The alien fell back, lights inside going dark. The others fired back. Thin beams of light cut through the air. One hit a crew member in the shoulder. He dropped, screaming. Daniel aimed and shot twice. One slug hit an alien in the chest. Cracks spread across its body like broken glass. It collapsed. The fight was fast and ugly. Humans used cover, crates, pipes, walls. They moved low and quick. The aliens stood tall and proud, but they were not ready for this. They expected fear. They got anger. Another alien fell, then another. The last one tried to run back to the pod. A crew member tackled it. They rolled on the floor. The humans slammed the alien's head against metal until the lights went out. Silence came. Smoke filled the air. Blood, red human blood, mixed with strange glowing fluid from the aliens. Daniel stood up. His uniform had burns. His arm bled from a small cut. Report. Mike checked the bodies. All down. We lost 2. 3 wounded bad. Daniel closed his eyes for a second. Then he opened them. Get the wounded to medbay. Secure the pod. See if we can learn anything from it. Back on the bridge, Karen watched the other 2 pods approach. Captain, more incoming. Daniel's voice came over comm. Hold them off. Use the point defenses. Don't let them latch. Karen turned to the controls. Small guns along the hall spun up. They spat fire. One pod exploded in a bright flash. The second tried to dodge, but took hits. It spun away, damaged. The alien frigate watched. Its commander stared at the screens. Impossible, he whispered. They fight like animals. He opened a channel to the flagship. Admiral Vexlar, the primitives resist. They have killed our boarding team. Recommend full disable. Glass the vessel. His crystal body flashed with angry red light. Do it. End this annoyance. The frigate powered its main lance. A bigger beam formed at the front. On the Endurance, alarms screamed again. Ryan saw it first. Captain, they're charging the big gun. Daniel ran back to the bridge. He arrived breathing hard. Status? Main drive still down, Steven said over comm. But the warp shunt, I can make it work. One jump, short, risky, might tear us apart. Daniel looked at his crew. Karen met his eyes. Ryan nodded. Even Laura, standing at the door, gave a small sign. Do it, Daniel said. Get us out of here. Steven's voice came back. Hold on tight. The ship shook. Lights flickered. A deep groan came from the hull. Space twisted around them. Colors bent. Then, with a flash brighter than the nebula, the Endurance vanished. The alien frigate fired. Its lance cut through empty space. The beam went on and on, hitting nothing. The commander stared. They jumped? With pre-warp engines? Admiral Vexlar received the report. He sat still for a long time. Then he spoke softly. Primitives do not jump like that. Find them. Now. But the Endurance was gone. Hidden in the dark between stars. Its people hurt. Its ship damaged. But alive. And angry. They had been ignored. Then attacked. Now they knew the truth. The galaxy thought humans were weak. The galaxy was about to learn otherwise. The Endurance came out of the warp jump in a burst of twisted light. The ship groaned like an old house in a storm. Metal creaked. Lights flickered on and off. Sparks rained from ceiling panels. For a long moment, silence held. Then alarms started again, soft at first, then loud and angry. Captain Daniel Hayes pulled himself up from the floor. His head hurt. Blood trickled from a cut above his eye. He wiped it away with his sleeve and looked around the bridge. Karen Brooks sat slumped in her chair, breathing hard. Ryan Cole held his arm close to his chest. Stephen Grant's voice crackled over the comm from engineering. Everyone still with me? Daniel asked. Karen nodded slowly. Bridge crew alive, but we took damage. Hull integrity at 82%. Life support holding. Ryan checked his panel with one hand. We're Somewhere deep. Not in the nebula anymore. Coordinates show we're near a Concord outpost. Small shipyard. They have repair docks and fuel stations. Daniel stared at the main screen. It showed a distant cluster of lights, metal rings and long arms floating in black space. Ships moved between them like bees around a hive. Alien ships, big ones, armed ones. Stephen's voice came again. Captain, the shunt held, but barely. We can't jump again soon. Engines need at least 12 hours to cool, maybe more. Daniel took a deep breath. Then we don't run. We use the time. Karen, scan those ships. Find weak points. Ryan, look for any open channels or signals we can listen to. Stephen, get me a list of what we captured from that boarding pod. Karen turned to her console. Scanning now. They have energy shields, but they're tuned for beam weapons. Our railguns might punch through if we hit hard and fast. Ryan listened to faint alien chatter. They're talking about us, calling the jump a malfunction. They think we're dead or lost. No one's looking for us yet. Daniel nodded. Good. That buys us time. In the medbay, Dr. Laura Mitchell worked fast. She had 3 wounded crew members on tables. One had a bad burn from an energy lance. Another had broken ribs from the jump turbulence. The third was Mike Torres, his shoulder torn open by shrapnel. Hold still, Laura told Mike. She cleaned the wound and started stitching. You're lucky it missed the artery. Mike gritted his teeth. Felt lucky when the alien went down instead of me. Laura gave a small smile. Keep that attitude. We need it. Back on the bridge, Daniel gathered his senior officers. Karen, Stephen, Ryan, and Laura, joined by video from medbay. We're hurt, Daniel said, but we're alive. They attacked us because they thought we were nothing. We proved them wrong once. Now we make sure they never forget. Karen crossed her arms. What's the plan? That shipyard is their weak spot. They keep most ships there for repairs. Lightly guarded. If we hit it hard, we can cripple their local fleet. Buy ourselves breathing room. Maybe even force them to talk. Stephen rubbed his chin. Risky. Our weapons are basic. Railguns fire metal slugs. No fancy beams. But we loaded extra ammo before we left Earth space, and we have the stuff from their pod. Ryan looked up. The pod had plasma grenades. Small ones. We can use them on boarding teams. And their rifles, we took 4. Still charged. Laura spoke from the screen. If we board, I'll need more help in medbay. People will get hurt, badly. Daniel met her eyes. We know. But if we do nothing, they'll hunt us down. We fight now, or we die later. No one argued. They spent the next hours preparing. Crew members moved through the corridors like shadows. They carried tools, weapons, spare parts. In the armory, people loaded magazines and checked sights. In engineering, Stephen and his team welded extra plating over weak spots. They turned cargo crates into barricades. Daniel walked the ship. He stopped to talk to small groups. He told them the truth. We're not soldiers. Most of us were farmers, teachers, mechanics back on Earth. But today, we're warriors. Because our home is this ship. Our family is each other. We protect what's ours. People listened. Some looked scared. Others nodded with hard eyes. One young woman, barely 20, held a shotgun tight. They shot first, Captain. We finish it. Night shift came, or what passed for night on a ship with no sun. Lights dimmed. Most crew tried to rest. Daniel stayed awake. He sat in his cabin and looked at the old photo of Earth again. He thought about the children sleeping in the lower decks. About the seeds in the garden waiting for soil. About the promise he made when they left. Find a new home, no matter what. A soft knock came. She carried 2 mugs of coffee. Real beans, saved for hard days. Couldn't sleep? She asked. Daniel took a mug. Not yet. She sat across from him. You know this could end badly. I know. But you're still going ahead. Daniel looked out the small window. Stars moved slow. If we run forever, we're just prey. If we fight, maybe we become something else. Karen sipped her coffee. Then let's become something else. The next hours passed fast. The Endurance drifted closer to the shipyard, using minimal power. They stayed in the shadow of a small moon. Sensors watched every move. Then the moment came. Targets locked, Karen said on the bridge. Daniel stood tall. Fire when ready. The railguns hummed. Then they spoke. Long streaks of metal flew silent across the void. They hit the first alien destroyer square on its engine section. The ship bloomed with fire. Secondary explosions followed. The destroyer listed, dead in space. Alarms sounded across the shipyard. Lights flashed. Alien ships powered up, but they were slow. Half were still docked. Half had crews on shore leave. The Endurance moved forward. It fired again. Another ship took hits to its bridge. It spun out of control and crashed into a repair arm. Metal tore like paper. Karen smiled. They're panicking. Ryan laughed. Incoming fighters. Small ones. 6 of them. Daniel said, point defenses. Take them down. Small guns along the hull spat fire. 2 fighters exploded right away. The others tried to dodge, but the Endurance turned fast. Faster than they expected. More bursts, more explosions. The fighters vanished in bright flashes. Stephen called from engineering. We're taking hits. Minor damage. Shields holding. Barely. Daniel answered. Keep her together. We're not done. The Endurance closed on the main dock. It launched its own small craft. Shuttles loaded with boarding teams. Humans in heavy suits, armed with captured plasma rifles and their own shotguns. They hit the dock hard. Airlocks blew open. Humans poured in. The aliens inside were not ready. They carried sidearms, light armor. They expected maintenance crews, not warriors. The fight was close and brutal. Hallways filled with smoke and screams. Humans used cover. They flanked. They threw improvised explosives, grenades made from engine parts. Aliens fell one by one. Their crystal bodies cracked and shattered. Mike Torres led one team. He kicked open a door. Inside, 3 Clythari stood with rifles raised. Mike fired first. His shotgun roared. 1 alien went down. The others shot back. Beams cut the air. Mike took a hit to the leg and fell. But he kept shooting. His team rushed in behind him. The room went quiet. On the bridge, Daniel watched the feeds. Status on boarding? Karen reported, teams in control of 3 sections. They're planting charges on fuel lines. Daniel nodded. Good. Pull them back when ready. We don't stay. The team set timers. Then they ran. Explosions followed. The shipyard lit up like a new sun. Fuel tanks ruptured. Fire spread. Alien ships tried to escape, but many were trapped. They burned. Admiral Vexlar watched from his flagship far away. Reports came fast. A single human ship, attacking a secure facility, destroying vessels, killing soldiers. His crystal body flashed bright with rage. How? He demanded. An officer answered, they fight without fear. They use our own weapons against us. They do not stop. Vexlar stared at the hologram of the small Endurance. It turned away from the burning shipyard. It limped, but moved with purpose. Send everything, Vexlar said. Destroy that ship. No mercy. But deep inside, something new stirred in him. Not just anger. Doubt. The galaxy had ignored humans. Now the galaxy bled. And the Endurance flew on, scarred, angry, unbroken. The war had truly begun. The Endurance slipped away from the burning shipyard, like a shadow leaving a fire. Smoke and debris floated behind it. The ship hurt in many places. Hull plates were cracked. One engine coughed and sputtered, but it still moved. Inside, the crew worked without rest. They patched holes. They reloaded guns. They cared for the wounded. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge. His face looked tired. Lines around his eyes were deeper now. He had not slept in 2 days, but his voice stayed strong. Ryan, where are we headed? Ensign Ryan Cole checked the star map. His fingers moved quick, despite the bandage on his hand. "We can reach a Concord supply depot in 12 hours at current speed. It's small, lightly guarded, mostly fuel tanks and spare parts. If we take it, we can repair ourselves, maybe even steal some of their tech." Karen Brooks looked up from tactical. "They'll expect us to run far, not strike again so soon." "That could work in our favor." Daniel nodded. "Then we strike. Stephen, can the engines hold?" Engineer Stephen Grant answered from below decks. His voice sounded rough over the comm. "They'll hold, but if we push too hard, we might lose the starboard nacelle. I'll baby it." Daniel turned to the crew on the bridge. "We hit fast. We hit hard. We take what we need and leave. No heroes. No staying longer than necessary." Everyone understood. They had lost friends already. No one wanted more names on the memorial wall. The ship flew quiet through empty space. They stayed off main lanes. They used small asteroids for cover. Hours passed. The crew ate quick meals. They checked weapons again. Some wrote short letters, just in case, and left them in lockers. Dr. Laura Mitchell moved through the medbay. She changed bandages. She gave pain shots. She spoke soft words to scared crew members. One young man, barely out of training, whispered to her, "Do you think we can win this, Doc?" Laura looked him in the eye. "We already have. We're still here. That's winning for now." When the supply depot appeared on sensors, the bridge went quiet. It looked peaceful. A round station with long arms holding fuel pods. A few small guard ships floated nearby. No big fleet. No heavy defenses. Karen smiled a thin smile. "They still don't take us seriously." Daniel said, "Good. Let's keep it that way." The Endurance accelerated. It came in low and fast, using the depot's own shadow to hide. Alarms sounded on the alien station. Lights flashed red. The guard ships turned toward the human vessel. "Fire," Daniel ordered. Railguns spoke again. Slugs slammed into the first guard ship. Its shield flickered and died. The second shot hit the engine core. The ship exploded in a silent bloom of light. Point defense guns from the Endurance caught it. Small explosions rippled along its hull. It drifted dead. The station fired back. Thin energy beams lanced out. One hit the Endurance's side. The ship shook. Sparks flew. A console exploded in smoke. "Shields down to 40%, Karen reported. "Keep firing," Daniel said. "Target the fuel arms." More slugs flew. One arm broke off. Fuel pods drifted free. Another arm cracked. Liquid hydrogen spilled into space, freezing into white crystals that caught the starlight. "Boarding teams, go," Daniel said. Shuttles launched. They carried 20 humans, armed, angry, ready. Mike Torres led the first team. His legs still hurt from the last fight, but he ignored it. The shuttle clamped onto the station's main airlock. Cutting torches burned through in seconds. The door blew inward. Humans poured out. They moved in pairs. They checked corners. They shot first. Alien workers, small, feathered beings, ran in panic. Some tried to fight with hand tools. They died fast. Deeper inside, Clethari guards waited. They stood in a wide corridor. Their crystal rifles glowed. They fired. Beams cut the air. One human fell. Another took a hit to the arm and kept moving. Mike threw a plasma grenade from the captured pod. It rolled forward. Then it burst. Blue fire washed over the guards. Crystal cracked. Lights went dark. The corridor went quiet. "Push forward," Mike called. "Engineering section next." They reached the control room. A single alien officer stood there. Tall, shaking. It raised its hands. Mike pointed his shotgun. "Power down defenses. Now." The alien did it, hands trembling. Screens went dark. Alarms stopped. Outside, the Endurance moved closer. Grapples shot out. They locked onto the station. Crew members in suits crossed over. They carried hoses. They pumped fuel. into their own tanks. They took spare parts. They took data cores full of alien maps and codes. Stephen Grant crossed over himself. He looked at the alien engines with hungry eyes. This coolant system, we can use it, adapt it, make our shunt stronger. He worked fast. His team pulled panels, they cut wires, they took what they needed. Back on the bridge, Ryan watched sensors. Captain, we have incoming. 3 destroyers, heavy ones, ETA 20 minutes. Daniel clenched his jaw. How much longer? Karen answered. Fuel at 80%. Parts loaded. Teams almost back. Call them in, Daniel said. We leave in 5. The boarding teams ran. They carried crates. They dragged wounded. Shuttles detached. They flew back to the Endurance. The destroyers arrived. Big, sleek, weapons hot. They fired at once. Energy lances crossed space. One hit the station. The fuel arms exploded. Fire spread like a flower opening. The Endurance turned. It accelerated hard. Stephen pushed the engines past safe limits. The ship groaned, but it moved. Karen fired the rear guns. Slugs hit one destroyer's shield. It flickered, but held. The destroyers chased. They gained slowly. Daniel looked at the screen. Ryan, plot a course. Use the data we stole. Find their weak spot. Ryan scanned the stolen maps. There. A relay station. Small, but it controls comms for this sector. If we take it out, they lose contact with each other. Daniel nodded. Set course. Full speed. The Endurance ran. The destroyers followed. Space stretched between them. Hours later, the relay station appeared. A thin tower floating alone. No guards, just antennas and power cores. Hit it, Daniel said. Railguns fired. The slugs tore through the tower. Metal bent. Sparks flew. The station broke apart. Silent explosions lit the void. The destroyers slowed. Their comms filled with static. They could not call for help. They could not coordinate. Karen laughed. They're blind now. The Endurance kept going. It left the destroyers behind. It flew toward deeper Concord space. On the Crystal Dawn, Admiral Vexlar stood in his command chamber. Reports came one after another. Shipyard destroyed. Supply depot taken. Relay gone. A single human ship doing all this. His officers looked afraid. One spoke. Admiral, the primitives. They adapt. They learn our systems. They fight like nothing we have seen. Vexlar's crystal body flashed dark red. They are not primitives. Not anymore. He stared at the hologram of the Endurance. Small, scarred, but alive. Still moving. Recall all fleets, he said. We meet them at the council station. If they come, we end this there. But in his mind, doubt grew bigger. The galaxy had rules. Old rules. Humans did not follow them. Humans broke them. And now, the galaxy paid. On the Endurance, the crew gathered in the mess hall. They were tired, hurt, but they smiled. They shared stories. They ate real food from the new supplies. Daniel stood up. He raised a cup of water. To us, to the ones we lost, to the home we'll find. They drank. Quiet cheers filled the room. Karen leaned close to Daniel. They're scared of us now. Daniel looked out at the stars. Good. Let them be scared. The ship flew on, toward the heart of the Concord, toward the final fight. One small human ship, against an empire, and the empire was bleeding. The Endurance flew straight toward the heart of the Galactic Concord. The council station waited ahead, a huge ring of silver and crystal that spun slowly in space. It was bigger than any city on old Earth. Lights glowed from 1,000 windows. Fleets of alien ships guarded it like a wall of steel. Destroyers, cruisers, battle carriers, all waiting for one small human ship. Inside the Endurance, the crew felt the weight of what came next. They had fought. They had won small victories. But this was different. This was the end of the road. Win here or lose everything. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge. His uniform was torn in places. A fresh bandage covered his arm. He looked at the main screen. The council station filled it completely. Ships moved to block their path. "Ryan," Daniel said quietly. "How many?" Ensign Ryan Cole swallowed. "Over 100 vessels, Captain. Most are heavy. Energy weapons charged. Shields at full." Karen Brooks checked her tactical display. "They're forming a sphere around us. No easy way out." Daniel nodded. "Then we don't look for a way out. We go through." Stephen Grant's voice came from engineering. "Engines are as ready as they'll ever be. Warp shunt is hot. One more jump left in her, if we need it." Daniel turned to his crew. "This is it. They called us primitives. They attacked us. They ignored us. Now they pay the price. We don't ask for mercy. We demand respect. Everyone to stations. Fight like you mean it." The bridge answered with quiet nods. No cheers, just hard eyes and steady hands. On the crystal dawn, Admiral Vexlar watched the same scene from his command chair. His crystal body glowed a deep, angry blue. Officers stood silent around him. "The human ship approaches," one said. "Shall we fire?" Vexlar raised a hand. "No. Let them come closer. I want to see their faces when we crush them." The Endurance kept coming. It did not slow. It did not turn. It flew straight at the center of the fleet. The first shots came from the alien side. Bright lances of energy crossed the void. They hit the Endurance hard. The ship shook. Lights dimmed. Alarms screamed. "Shields failing," Karen reported. "Hull breaches on decks 4 and 7. "Return fire," Daniel ordered. Railguns roared. Heavy slugs flew fast. They slammed into the nearest destroyer. Its shield cracked. The second shot punched through. The ship broke open. Fire bloomed inside. It drifted away, dead. More aliens fired. Beams cut the Endurance's side. A section of hull peeled away like paper. Air rushed out. Emergency doors slammed shut. Stephen called out, "We're losing atmosphere. Sealing sections." Daniel gripped his chair. "Keep her flying. Target the flagships." The Endurance twisted. It dodged where it could. It fired where it could not dodge. Another alien cruiser took hits. Its engines exploded. It spun into 2 others. Metal screamed in silence. The fleet closed tighter. They surrounded the human ship. They poured fire on it. The Endurance burned in a dozen places. Its lights flickered like a dying star. Inside, crew fought fires. They carried wounded. They kept guns firing. In the medbay, Dr. Laura Mitchell worked under red emergency lights. Blood covered her gloves. She saved who she could. Mike Torres limped to a gun turret. His leg bled again. He sat down and aimed. "Come on, you crystal bastards," he muttered. He fired. A beam turret on an alien ship shattered. The Endurance pushed forward. It reached the inner ring of ships. It was close enough now to see the council station clearly. Huge windows showed alien leaders watching. Their faces showed shock. Daniel opened a channel. His voice went out to every ship and every station. "This is Captain Daniel Hayes of the Endurance. You ignored us. You attacked us. You thought we were weak. Look around you. Your ships burn. Your people die. We did not want this war. You started it. Now finish it, or talk." Silence followed. Then Admiral Vexlar's voice answered. It sounded different now. Not cold, not sure. "Human, you have caused enough damage. Power down. Surrender. We will allow your species to live under our protection." Daniel laughed once, short and hard. "Protection? Like you protected the other young races you crushed? No. We talk as equals, or we keep fighting until nothing is left." On the crystal dawn, Vexlar stared at the burning fleet. Reports came fast. Losses high, morale breaking. The human ships still moved, still fought. An officer whispered, "Admiral, the Council demands parley. They fear total loss." Vexlar closed his eyes for a moment. Lights inside him dimmed. Then he spoke. "Cease fire. All ships, hold position." The beam stopped. The void went quiet, except for the crackle of dying ships. A shuttle launched from the Council station. It flew to the Endurance. It carried no weapons, just lights of peace. Daniel watched it come. "Karen, open the bay. Let them dock." The shuttle entered. 3 aliens stepped out. Vexlar led them. His body looked smaller now, less bright. They met in the main corridor. Humans stood on both sides, armed, ready, but they did not shoot. Vexlar looked at Daniel. "You have proven your point. Your species is not primitive. You are dangerous." Daniel met his gaze. "We are survivors. We protect our own. That's all." Vexlar nodded slowly. "The Council offers terms. Territory for your people. Trade rights. A seat at the table. In return, you stop the attacks." Daniel looked at his crew. Ryan watched with wide eyes. Stephen leaned against the wall, tired but listening. Daniel turned back. "We accept, but hear this. Never again treat any new race as less. Never again ignore a ship because it looks weak. The next one might not stop at your doorstep. They might burn your worlds." Vexlar bowed his head. "We understand. The ignorance ends today." The aliens left. The shuttle departed. The fleet pulled back. The Council station opened its arms. No more shots. No more blood. On the Endurance, the crew stood in silence for a long time. Then someone started to clap. Slow at first, then louder. Cheers filled the corridors. People hugged. Some cried. Daniel walked to the observation deck alone. He looked out at the stars. The nebula glowed far away. The Council station spun peaceful now. Karen joined him. "We did it." Daniel nodded. "We paid for it, but yes, we did." She looked at him. "What now?" "Now we find a real home. We build, we grow, and we make sure no one ever forgets what humans can do." The Endurance turned slowly. Its engines hummed soft. It flew away from the Council station, toward new stars, toward a future it had earned with fire and blood. Behind it, the galaxy changed. Old rules broke. New respect grew, because one small ship had emerged from the dark, and the price of ignorance had been paid in full. Star blood had flowed, but humanity lived, and the stars would never be the same.